room and have everyone in person. I ran into people in the parking garage, I ran into people in the elevator, and now we have a giant group surrounded by rainbow flags today, which makes my heart so happy. So happy July, happy Pride. Let's go do this thing because today's marketing stats is going to be riveting. First and foremost, I would like to welcome back the amazing and wonderful Maggie Clemens. Maggie and I got the privilege of meeting a year ago or so, and she made me work real hard. And we are all lucky to have her back, and that kind of culture and energy and growth is just what we're looking for here. So welcome back, Maggie. Let's do a micro market moment real quick, because there is so much changing. We're going to talk about a lot during stats, but I would love to hear anybody's take on something that's happening in your world or your business that feels different right now than it did last few months. On Zoom or in person, listings, sitting price reductions, or lots of offers, lots of people in open houses, or nobody's doing business. Judy, congrats on doing business.
I just want to give you a report on the open house market.
So around February or March, I could not get an open house. I mean, I went a month. I was working so hard, like I called people every day, all day. Could not get an open house for about 1 month. Now they're calling me, begging me.
I love that market update because I've seen the same thing on our Facebook page, and I've been telling our agents who are filling their business for open houses. First of all, congratulations, great choice. I know Lisa Bolton full staff, so she's on her business. I don't know where she's going to. And I'll tell you guys, I have 2 agents in the past week. If you do stats conversations, I always say open houses will build your business. Absolutely true, and yet only 2% of the time will they bring in the buyer for the property you're holding it. That's a national statistic. We have 2 listings internally between here and Signature that both brought buyers through an open house, writing contracts in the last week. But no, they don't work. Don't do them. They're terrible. Okay, cool. So congratulations to everyone who's doing open houses and building their way. And if you're not, or you don't understand, or you need help with it, reach out and ask. Ask your coach, ask me, ask Jack, and ask someone who will help you build through that pillar. Amy, you don't have my time markers on here, so I never know if I'm talking too much. We will do our bucket fills. First and foremost, to Movement Mortgage for being our main sponsor for today's Pride podcast. Thank you for always showing up for us and doing great things. We super appreciate you. And in addition to our bucket fills we've been doing, we really want to drive home the culture part of Keller Williams and make sure that we keep that alive and well, especially for our new people who haven't had a chance to see tons of it. So I know myself differently. So anyone who has a culture moment that you want to share, something from the Y4C2Ts, win, win, or no deal, integrity, culture, customers coming first. Anything that stands out in your personal life or business that you want to reflect on and share with the group? Bridget.
I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to several agents in our office who've been holding my listings open. I require a lot of feedback on my listings. Victor has a very specific sheet, as you all can imagine. And I want to give a shout out to Hope, MJ. I know I'm going to forget a few people, Rob Paul, Nashville. There's so many good agents that are giving good feedback that's really helpful for the conversations with the listener. So thank you, those of you that are so professional in our office.
And it could be. It does, win, win, or no deal. Thank you, that is awesome, and that really beautifully ties up all the things we've talked about so far, open houses and the shift and the change. So without further ado, I will hand it over to our Director of Growth, Jack.
I got left in by, I'm not. I just wanted to remind everybody, so I know I tell you this when you start, but there's a lot happening when you're a new agent. There are 2 Facebook groups. They're a great resource for information. So if you are a new agent and you have not already joined the new agent Facebook group, please get in contact with me, let me know, I will get you in there. Or if you only joined the new agent group and you're not in the main office group, you're missing the big party. That's where our agents are posting the open houses that you can host. When somebody does post it, please remember to just reach out, let them know how you can help them. That is where I'm seeing a lot of the exciting things happening for new agents, some of the ones I see in this room, and our seasoned agents who have a ton of listings and don't know what to do with them. It's really nice to see you guys match up. So 2 Facebook groups if you're a new agent. If you're a current agent, you're not brand new, just the one, it's plenty, there's lots in there. Thank you.
I swear today's theme is not open house week, and yes, no, it is, so that's magical. Movement mortgage. Which of you lovely lads is coming forward to speak? Wes has to, because I don't know if y'all saw this, but we did.
Matchy, matchy.
Hey, it's Wes for Movement. We just want to talk with you about the mindset that the consumers are seeing, home buyers are seeing, home sellers are having, with rates being where they're at. We had an inflation report come out today that was a little higher than expected at 9.1% versus the 8.8 that they predicted. The media is going to take that and run with it, right? Like we all see the news stories, we all see what it's like to watch CNBC or Fox or CNN, and they try and get people's attention by fear mongering. So it's so important for us to just take control of that narrative. I love that we're all here today for the market stats meeting because we're getting lots of great information that we can put out there and just be that person that will help educate your clients on what's really going on. Because we really still have an inventory problem that's going to continue to cause home prices to stay in a good spot or be elevated, depending on your perspective. So I think it's really important that we just take the knowledge and information that we can. Feel free to use us as a resource, myself, or Anthony, or Ed, or Amanda, or Matt. We're here to help provide charts, graphs, information, knowledge is power. So feel free to reach out. We're happy to help.
Thank you. I will, I was speaking with an agent this week and they were talking about going to a credit union because they were getting a good deal. And I said, have you talked to our movement friends? And now he is. So always get other opinions, you guys. Get other opinions. Ask for resources that we use. They're here for a reason. And Bridget, culture update. There's like a few things going on now that we're back in summer.
Thanks, Steve, for setting up a great event today, again, as always. And shout out to Paul, who I could really see over you were there for organizing the happy hour yesterday. So many events, like we don't have events for 3 years and we have 3 months. So the next one, of course, is the 80s murder mystery. I'm very excited. I've been waiting 2.5 years to see this guy. We have all the characters we need, but I still have some spare backup characters. So if you want to come last minute, that's okay. Just let me know, message me on Facebook or in the group chat. So tomorrow I'll be here at 5:30. We're going to have dinner sponsored by Ed and Movement Mortgage. I think you guys are bringing the food. For the cook team, we'll be sponsoring the desserts, which is probably cookies. Don't worry, I'm not baking. I'm Hawaiian. And first, characters, don't go buy stuff, don't spend a bunch of money. I'm gonna find stuff in my closet, just get creative and be silly. There's nothing you need to know about your characters in advance. I'll give you all the information you need. Also, we always try to do some sort of give back. Doesn't cost any money to come, but all I ask is I'm trying to put together packages for just in time for foster youth, which is for transitional housing for our local youth that are transitioning out of the foster system. So if you have little hotel soaps and shampoos, things, don't go spending a bunch of money. Just bring whatever you have and I'll have a box. The event's free, $5 for alcoholic drinks or $25 all you can drink. That money is going to go towards our being able to have more social events. So hopefully we raise a lot of money, so be prepared to drink a lot. And I think that's pretty much. Make sure to Uber. Also with Pride stuff, I don't know if there's any huge events going on in here tomorrow, so I don't think it'll be that bad. If you have a parking space here, obviously you can park here, but if not,
Not if you're drinking.
or just Uber home and then come back to the office and have get work done. So I think that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, message me, and I'm really excited. I hope you guys are too, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Right here, be here or be square. So I do want to double down on the shout out to Paul, even if he's talking, and the DEI efforts he's put in, because there's so much amazing work that's going on throughout the entire year to celebrate all of our different pieces of our beautiful rainbow puzzle. So thank you for your efforts there. And Robert, are you here for Launch and Growth update?
Yes, we do. Happy Pride, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great potluck. I miss you all, and I miss that San Diego weather. So count your blessings.
It's been like 5 minutes.
So on Team Elite, hey, let's give some shout outs in the coaching program on Team Alicia. Shout out to Monty Bowman, closed his escrow on his listing in growth. And Deborah Brown opened escrow on her listing and opened escrow with a buyer. Great job on growth. And Christine closed her very first escrow, brand new agent in launch. Also on Team Deborah, shout out to Kareen Isadora, who closed on her Lakeside listing and opened up an escrow with her VA buyer. And she's in growth, as well as Shalo and Shalo. I'm not going to say your last name because I'm going to screw it up. Sorry. Got her very first BRE signed in launch. Congratulations. So here's a little broker stuff that you need to be aware of this week. I'm dropping in the chat box if you can see it there. In the case of ambiguity, the principle in the dubio contra stipulatorium shall apply where an unfavorable interpretation of any clause against the author has to be adopted, as he had the power within drafting the clause to make the meaning plain. Does anybody have any inkling of idea what I just said in legal terms?
Yeah, are you talking about if there's a misunderstanding in, like, for example, escalated clauses, if it's not written correctly and it's misinterpreted, those kinds of things that need to be ironed out completely 100%? Is that like kind of the drift?
Yes, Peggy, that is exactly what I'm talking about. When agents love to put language in a contract that sometimes contradicts portions of the contract, or they just write it the wrong way. And where this comes into play is, here's an example that just happened. A listing went live, the buyer, and it did not have a washer and dryer, but the buyer, when they put in the purchase agreement, requested the washer and dryer, even though there was nothing in, there was no washer and dryer listed in the MLS, in the house, etc. But they requested it. And the listing agent / seller did not counter it out. Meaning they didn't correct that mistake because there was no washer and dryer, they should have counted it out. Well, buyer and seller end up in mediation, and guess who paid a hefty price to get a washer and dryer? The listing agent's broker. So I bring this point up because what you should be doing when you're making offers on the purchase agreement, making sure you actually specify everything in that house about what it is and be really clear with the stuff you're requesting. And in some cases, you might even want to take a picture of the appliances. We had another case where the seller decided to take their Sub-Zero out, and the seller said it's mine, and the buyer says no, we requested it. But what the seller did was they replaced the Sub-Zero with a cheap GE knockoff. So they went through mediation, and $10,000 is what the broker had to pay for a brand new Sub-Zero refrigerator. So clarity is power in your contracts. Get it in writing. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. Just remember that. And then I want to do a pitch for my Thursdays with Broker Bob series tomorrow. I'm interviewing the fabulous Deborah Brown, one of our top agents and new coaches, and I'm going to ask her all the good, the bad, the ugly about real estate. And if you haven't listened to some of those interviews, they're on YouTube. And I recommend going back and listening to some of them, because these agents are giving really good information about what they're doing in today's market to get business. And last week with Mike and Richard, it proved really good, because Mike walked through people how he got a seller to understand what the market is. All right, that's it. Back to you, Sarah.
Again, I'm gonna double down on that. Roberts, okay, we need a new title. Thursday's the Broker Bob. Thursday, Mastermind and Top Agents that give away their tips and tricks for how they do a lot of deals. Come to that. Okay, so, and they're all recorded, so go back and watch them and take all the goodness that we're giving you. Scripts, which is now called Language of Real Estate with Stephen, 3 mornings a week. Stay present with the conversations in the market. We do a ton, and as much as I would love to follow you around with sticks and beat you until you come to it, they tell me that's illegal, so I don't. So pay attention, come ask the questions for the parts where you need help, and turn on your ears, stop multitasking, it's not a thing. Pay attention to Ashley's market stats for the next 40 minutes, because the market is evolving and you need to be an expert.
Listing to buyers.
With listings or buyers.
Do we have people who are bringing listings to market buyers? Oh, probably.
Oh, we're not doing that. So. We don't care about listings and buyers. That's just a side technicality in the business.
Property pitches and buyer needs are coming to Facebook. So if you have them, write in the chat, if the conversation's going or running to Facebook. We want to have more time to market stats today, so that was a decision we made. Please submit all complaints to the box on where I was desk.
All right.
Our little headset isn't working, so I'll use the.
Right now.
Thank you. So for those of you who are relatively new to us, on the day that I do slides, I take the date. What's the date today? July 13th, and I add 90 days to it, which would be October 13th.
Can't
Why do
hear
I
it.
do that? Wait, can you not hear?
No, you just gotta speak up.
What?
It's really loud in the room.
Help me even.
Just stay close to this.
Okay, anyway, so October 13th is 90 days from today. Whatever you're doing today in terms of your real estate business is going to show you income results 90 days from now. So I hammer that home with always a holiday and odd holiday. This is a new one to me, but I kind of like it.
I'm in.
So October 13th is no bra day.
Yes. It worked.
No day. So market center event, Bridget? All right. So I have been doing this staff presentation for many years. I'm trying to do the math in my head, since 2005. So what's that? 17 years. And this last weekend, when I was starting to pull numbers, was the most uncomfortable time I've had doing this. And some of it, the screen's in the way, some of it was because I was just in awe. Some of it was kind of an, oh shit, we need a new strategy. Some of it was knowing, Sarah and I had this conversation the other day, from now until probably about 24 months from now, it's gonna be really uncomfortable in the brokerage world. Not necessarily for individual agents, but the brokerage world. There's this ongoing joke that says you become a broker and you are broker. That's why they named it that. It's the economics in the real estate brokerage world are gonna get really funky. Then you'll feel this, you should probably tell us if you feel it. Other real estate offices are gonna have a really hard time surviving. The number one reason for that right now are units sold are down. Even in Metro, this year to date, you all as a collection of agents have made more money than ever. we have set month-over-month records on the amount of GCI earned by our agents. That's not reflected on the brokerage side because we have a capital. Okay, so the good news is for talented agents who are working hard, you're gonna have a good couple years. For brokerages, if you have friends of brokerages, start talking to them, they may need a safe place to come when their doors are open anymore. So here's why. Our listings to date, year to date, through the end of June, are down 10%. We were already in a listing shortage. And now we've taken 10% fewer than last year. And on the sales side, closed units are down 15.76%. Now, most of you probably don't feel that because guess what's still up? Prices. So you're making more for fewer units, which is a little bit scary because you need to be unit driven, not just GCI driven. My goal for all of our agents is to get to at least a closing a month, which I know can sound crazy. Oh, you're shaking, you did it in your first year fairly, I think by 3 times almost. The reason for that is if I close 12 deals a year and the market shifts and I lose 3, I still can like make my mortgage. If I close 6 deals a year, but they're really high price points, that can feel great until the market recedes and now I only close 3 and I cannot make my mortgage. All right, so the unit counts, by the way, I believe are going to continue to go down and you'll see why in a minute. Help me. Yeah.
So I think you used to do them like under 200,000, and you said you weren't gonna do those because there's basically none left.
You will see my price points, yes. So there's the price points.
Okay.
I changed those at the beginning of this year, and it's another reason it takes me a lot longer to do this right now because my data set that I'm working off of goes back to 2016. And so I have to pull every price point for every property type for that many years. Now, I'm only showing you 2018 to present, but I have the data back to 2016. So this first slide, will it work now?
Should.
Okay. This first slide should be kind of a wake-up call. Now, we didn't have, I had to remember, Clarissa asked me earlier, we did not have a staff meeting last month, which is unusual, but it was also unusually busy for all of the staff. We had classes we were at, we just didn't have time to do this meeting. So in May 18th, I pulled the numbers of active listings that are single family under $1 million, and there were 819. 2 months later, it was 1,516. Woo!
Wait, say that again?
They're up there. So active detached houses under $1 million in May, we only had 819. Today, this morning, we have 1,516. It's double. And that's under $1 million. Pending, we were at 1142, we're down to 913. Sold 955 into the ouch, down to how much? Over $1 million, it's a little more extreme. So we had 973 listings active over $1 million in May, and now we have 1,611. Look how much the pending and sold have slowed down. Yes.
Do you know the first overall percent increase for?
Oh, yeah. You've done this meeting before, right, John? All right, here's condos.
Hey, Ashley, can you repeat his question? We couldn't hear that online.
Oh, he asked if I'm going to go over the percentages of basically the rest of the slides.
Oh, Joe.
It's Joe's first time. All right, so here's the condo picture. Obviously, you're seeing the same trend. Now, there's some good news here. If you've been representing buyers over the last couple of years in a white hot seller's market, you could ask for nothing. You actually had to give children away, I think, to get offers accepted. Now you have a little bit more negotiating room, but interestingly, there's a large proportion of agents who have not been in a position to ever negotiate before, so they don't know how to. So brush up on those negotiating skills. these numbers are still remarkably competitive. It is still a very aggressive seller's market. It's just been such a rapid shift, 60 days, that it may feel a little more intense than it actually is. Does that make sense?
It's happening so fast.
It's happening so fast. So I like driving analogies. Let's say I was an idiot and I was driving 130 on the freeway. Well, now I slowed down to 90. That's abrupt, but it's still flipping fast. All right, so here's what happened 2020 to 2022 in each of the price points that I redefined starting at the beginning of the year. Because as you can tell, the blue line represents 2020. In the lower price points, under 400 and 400 to 600, look how many fewer, even in that, are available now. It's crazy. So it's feasible that within the next couple of years, I'll just have an under 600,000 category. All right, so now the good news is we've been picking up those actual listings on the higher price points, but in a shift, typically the lowest price points and the highest price points feel it the most. Okay. I'm not moving. Not me. So the sold data, it's trending in the same way. What we have to sell, we're selling. Thank goodness. Now, it has slowed down since the interest rates creeped up. Ed and I chatted really briefly just before the meeting about the rumor that the rates may go up by a point this next time. It will, if that happens, create a short-term pain, but a longer-term gain, and we really probably need that to happen. Because until housing slows down significantly, inflation isn't going to slow down. Now, having said that, if the overall market goes backwards doesn't mean that your individual businesses need to. All right, listed versus sold just last year, so year over year. So here's your specific number, 2,092 fewer listings taken. And in what price points? The ones we have ready enabled buyers. So it's a tale of two markets. It's still really, really, really tough because of lack of inventory, anything under 700,000. Okay, sold follows the same thing. If we list it, it will sell. Active houses. Now, everybody, if you're at home, make sure you can go, you get the PowerPoint. If you're in the room, Evie already sent the PowerPoint out today, so you have it in your email. These two slides are going to look very, very similar. And the only way you're going to tell the difference at first glance is the title of it. And hopefully I can go backwards. So this is active houses as of May, 60 days ago. On the left side where it says 0 to 500, keep watching that. Now I'm going to go to the next slide, which is going to be this month's version. So I went from 0 to 500 the last slide, and this one 0 to 1,000, because look at the price point 950 to 1.5 million. We're building up inventory there. If I can go back, essentially it doubled.
Actually, everything from 700 to 2.5 million doubled. Pretty much.
So remember I said it's going, why would it double? Because there's less demand on those higher price points. If we had that same number of listings coming under 700, they'd be flying off the market. So it's a tale of two markets, and the upper end is going to get hit harder because there's less demand. That's houses. Now here go condos. May. Oh, that is July. I forgot to put July in the title, but so July, May. I also had to change the numbers on the side. May, July. This is much easier if you actually have these printed out and you can see them side by side. It'd be a bit better. Might be a good tool to use with your sellers and buyers to say, here's what's just happened in 60 days. You may want to act a little more urgently. Here's the absorption rates by price point. Now, this was kind of fun because we have all been in such an insane market. Most of our absorption rates up through May were above 80%, which is insane and not sustainable. And it felt good to type 70s. And I have a feeling that based on the trajectory of the pendings, we will actually see the absorption rates come down even a little bit more. Maybe high 60s, which by the way, is still a ridiculously fast seller's market. The absorption rate above 20% is a seller's market. We are at 78%. We got a long way to go before it's an even balanced market. Now, having said that, here's the trajectory that's a little interesting. So June is the last month that I put up there as far as the number. So 2719 for new single family homes brought to market, 1,374 condos. Look at the trajectory of that line. That's not typical for this time of year. Typically, we'll peak and then come down. So the new listing picture, I'm watching it pretty much every day to see what's happening, because if we list it, we'll sell it. We know that. Unless it's above 3 million-ish. Active listings. Again, this looks like a hockey stick and it can be an oh my God moment visually, but it's still, we only have 3,149 properties that are single family, 1,341 that are condos. Go ahead.
It's funny because if you look at interest rates and you overlay it with this, it looks like the same exact trajectory going up since December.
Okay. But what we have to remember is in both cases, the starting number was so low, it's not that dramatic.
Yeah.
Right? This is a good thing. I remember having bets with people that we would never dip below 2,000 active houses.
That'd be me. I think you still owe $100 to the foundation, the animal shelter.
Can you mute him? So we were at 895 active listings in single family category at the end of January. 895, and we're now at 331.90. There, 49. So we're seeing a healthy buildup for agents who have buyers. You have more options now. You don't have to run out, give up every moment of your life to be there the second property hits the market. You still have to be fast, but you don't have to be that fast. Pending, a little concerning from a brokerage standpoint. Again, there's enough deals closing for everybody in San Diego Metro and Signature to hit their goals. So I'm not concerned for you guys at all. And yet, when you look at the overall brokerage community, if we're only selling that many houses a month, which these are the pendings, so guess what is going to be this month's income? That's why it's scary for brokerages. That makes sense to everybody? Oh, yeah. Sarah said those are December numbers. Basically, in December, it's usually the lowest closing month of the year. Those numbers reflect last December. We don't do that in summer in San Diego. So, what's the sold look like? Again, pending is our future income, so our July income. The sold trajectory was already down, and that is going to be even lower this next month. So we could have a second half of the year, third and fourth quarter, that are really historically low sales numbers. My message to you as a productive agent is triple up on your lead gen. Deals are still going to happen, but they're going to be fewer. You're going to have to put yourself in the way of them. Median sales price. So all of that to say, hey, we're going down a number of sales, we're going down a number of listings, pendings, and yet our median sales price is still on a good trajectory. That was just a blip. Look at the overall line of that. So 49, almost 50% 4-year gain, which is insane. The last time we did this meeting, I said, look, you don't even need a job anymore. Just buy a house and sit on it. You're making $100,000 a year. Don't do that, but get the point. Condos around the same, And I think the condos are gonna continue to appreciate more than the houses, because again, that's where our affordable inventory is. Oh, back, average. So I had also said, somebody's at my front door. I had also said the average sales price is likely never gonna come below 1.2 million. I said that last month. I actually still believe that, but we're gonna get really close to 1.2 million. Because it's the upper price points that are feeling this, so that is gonna bring your average down. Still a pretty high average. And for condos, average sales price, 762. Crazy. All right, median market time. This one I had to chuckle at because, oh my God, it's 12 days. So the important part about the median market time is that if you have a listing or you're looking at a listing for a buyer and it is over 12 days active market time, they likely missed the mark on pricing. You have a little bit more negotiating room if you're representing that buyer. If you have the listing, time to talk about price reductions, which may be a new thing for some agents who have never seen a price reduction.
Price what?
Yeah.
Shift is happening now, Ignite launches in August.
Shift is happening now, Ignite launches in August, and we're doing Bold in October. So we got you set up from a training standpoint, you just gotta go do the work. Now, to give you a historical perspective on this, 12 days and 10 days is still stupid, crazy, fast. Maggie, you and I were in the elevator and you said you had a team leader when you first got in the business tell you a normal market was 16,000 listings. What year was that? 2009, you got in the business, your team leader said the normal market 16,000 listings, and you said to me, she's not actually seen that in her career, even though that was normal in 2009. Honestly, we'll probably never see that again. Now, considering what we're seeing, I would not be surprised if we saw 6,000, which I wouldn't have said in January, but seeing the trajectory of things, we may see standing inventory of 6,000 by year end, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, and we have to be good at setting new expectations with sellers. Okay. Next, month's supply. This is a good thing too, and made me laugh. So December, who was here in the market center and can remember the staff meeting from December or January? You're here. Do you remember me saying we will hit an all-time historical low, probably less than 1,000 for sale units? And at that point, we had 2 weeks of inventory. That was December, January. Now we're at 1.6 months. Still not a lot of inventory, but it's a lot better than it was. And if you do the math, it's 8 times what we had. Again, the numbers, the empirical numbers are very aggressive still, but when you have an 8 times buildup of month supply, it can feel like, oh my God, we slammed the brakes. We didn't. It's just in relation to that very, very extremely low inventory level. Average list price to sales price ratio, I chuckled again, because in May, we had topped 107% average list price to sales price ratio. Because we had so much competition for things, people were overbidding and giving their children away. And now we're down, back down reasonable, 101 to 102% list price to sales price ratio. It's crazy still. This one slide is telling you we're still appreciating. We're still appreciating, and we will. We just will have fewer units. I would love to see us stay somewhere between 99 and 101% of list price to sales price ratio. That would give us a sustainable gain. Right? Average price per square foot, still the trajectory is up. It's ridiculously high in my opinion, but it did tail off a little bit in June. I don't think that's going to be a continued slide down. It just maybe plateau right there. All right, so monthly indicators. We're gonna have a lot of time to chat because we got through this stuff fast. These are the slides that SDAR provides, and most of the time I include them because they're a benefit of your membership, but I also usually tell you they're really crappy. But there are a couple key things this month on these. So closed sales decreased 35.5% for detached homes. Now, you just saw the data behind that. And you should be able to tell the story that that is the combination of we have fewer listings coming to market to sell. And this month we felt a little bit less demand. Now, the third part of that is we still have a tremendous amount of demand, but in price points where listings don't exist. Okay. But 35% decrease in closed sales is significant in the summer. The summer is usually the height of the selling season. Okay, next, inventory increased 25%. That's just an easy talking point. Why would you want to know that? What's important to know that inventory increased by 25%?
More to choose from.
On the buy side, more to choose from. On the sell side?
There's more competition that you need to be prepared that your other people are looking at more houses.
Yes, and this is not the time to price ahead of the market, meaning above it. It's time to be the cheapest on the market.
Definitely don't want to be pricing your house so that you're actually helping sell your neighbor's house.
Exactly. All right, and then this I actually wanted to hear all of our movement mortgage folks. When I read the last paragraph, I was like, this does not sound right. Can somebody please explain this in a better way? I don't think this is accurate. With monthly mortgage payments up by more than 50% compared to this time last year. Are you seeing that? Are you qualifying people for the same house at 50% more than they were paying last year?
Definitely.
Not the rate, but the payment.
Definitely. I think somebody misspoke there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, rates doubled, in the past year, but just because they went up from 3 to 6%, I mean, it's a $300 to $500 jump in monthly payment.
Okay, so again, I highlighted this because we can take that and all of a sudden, be Chicken Little, the sky is falling, instead of investigating it and realizing, okay, that somebody misspoke or they didn't know what they were talking about. This is why this is a professional publication from a realtor association. If it has jacked up info, this is why we become valuable, because we can actually educate people. Right? Okay, and next one. Now, this gives you a little bit of language from the overall landscape in the country, not just San Diego. Record high home prices and surging mortgage interest rates are taking their toll on America's home builders. Now, I don't always think of the building industry because we don't have a whole lot of new construction in San Diego, but we have some. And we need a lot more, and there are some opportunities out there to do that. The challenge is if materials are at all-time high, which they are, it's crazy, right? Supply chain issues are still there. Gail and I just ordered something on Monday that usually, like pre-pandemic, you'd get in 2 weeks. It's going to be 90 days. Builders are going to slow down. The good news is that means our lack of supply will keep our values up. And we know if somebody came and was able to buy 100 acres and put 500 houses on it, it would take 5 years to get that project done. But they're not even doing that first step now because of this. So we're at least 5 years, and probably won't happen in my lifetime, away from any big new developments in San Diego. Okay, so I put the note on the side, new construction is likely to slow even more, negatively impacting and prolonging the housing shortage. But the upside is values will continue to rise.
I'm gonna take that back. I just plugged in the numbers into my calculator here, and if a $500,000 condo put 20% down at 3%, you're at $1,700. At 6%, you're almost $2,500. So that's almost a 50% difference. However, your total monthly payment is not going to be 50%. Your principal and interest payment is roughly 50%.
Yeah, so they are right then, or pretty close to right on the mortgage.
On the principal and interest, not on total payment.
Got it.
Thank you.
Ashley, would you mind if I ask Ed a question? It's Susan.
Yeah, go for it.
Ed, can you speak to this idea of where rates are going and the fact that, you know, get in now and when things settle down, we can refinance? I mean, what's the projection? What are you guys anticipating?
I'm not even gonna start to guess where rates are going because it is so volatile. I've got no clue. Your guess is as good as mine. But in all honesty, at the end of the day, the prices is what we're talking about. And the supply and demand is really where the conversation should be focused. And if someone's comfortable with making their payments, if their motivations to stay in that home for an extended period of time, we got to dig deep into people's motivations to be able to really get them to move forward and pull at their heartstrings. Because look, at the end of the day, 6% is not a bad rate.
Right.
5% is not a bad rate, right? 4% is a great rate. 3% is an amazing rate. But there's so many people that were spoiled in looking at those rates that they all of a sudden think that that's normal, but it's not. 4 to 6% is normal. So everything is stabilizing, and it's a good thing. Yeah, inventory is stabilizing, prices are stabilizing. You know, and we're seeing that across the board, but I'm not going to guess where rates are going because I'm going to be wrong no matter what. There's no way to tell from here.
No, that's a good safe answer. I appreciate that.
I mean, you know, they're projecting, they're going to keep the Fed. I can tell you, the Fed's going to keep pumping the brakes on the economy to slow us down. Our unemployment is still at historic lows right now. And until we start seeing that unemployment tick up and people start losing their jobs and prices of other goods start coming down, I mean, if you take a look and see when the CPI numbers came out today, it was wild. I mean, 9.1%. Can you guys believe that gasoline prices are up 60%? I mean, we're all paying for it at the pump. Energy is up 42%. I mean, when you're paying to put AC in your house or heat your house, what have you, food is up 10%. I mean, these are huge numbers. Used cars, 7%. Rent is up 6%. I mean,
Well, and I know we talked about this, I think in January and February, because the interest rates were going up, they're going to continue to go up until the overall economy slows down. And at that point, I said, what is that for you guys? Will it be a 7 or an 8% rate that would make you slow down your consumption? Obviously, 6% isn't doing it. The challenge is people who are already wealthy, and essentially that's any property owner in San Diego, is likely going to need to feel 8, 9, 10% interest rates before they start slowing down their consumption. And it's the people who are not wealthy or who are not property owners who are going to feel this really uncomfortably. They're going to be the ones losing their jobs. And in San Diego, my goodness, rents are asinine and going up. So
and vacancy rates are so low; they're less than 2%.
Yeah, we are blessed to be in the industry that we're in an economic situation like this. I wouldn't really want to be in any other industry right now. The job market, a lot of you know, I teach a course on hiring, and for the last year, we've been talking about how competitive you have to be in terms of hiring people. You have to pay 2 to 3 times as much as for a new hire than you would have had been 3 years ago. Unfortunately, that's going to wreak havoc in the next 6 to 12 months with small businesses who got those employees in the last year and are paying those rates and can't anymore. So, and if you've got people in your database that are small business owners, it's time to throw out some lifelines and start talking to them about this kind of stuff. We're going to see layoffs in a big way. We're already seeing it in some of the real estate industry. We're going to see it all through every industry.
Yeah, the mortgage industry is definitely laying off the middle management and processors, underwriters, and juniors, stuff like that. I mean, look at Loan Depot just bailed on 5,000 employees yesterday.
Okay, so everybody take a deep breath. Because you're in a really good environment. If we have to live through that, this is the environment you want to be in. the industry itself is the best place to be if you're creating income, right? But it's not a great place to be if you've been inconsistent and your 3 deals is gonna go to 0. We're gonna feel a lot of discomfort in the industry. Just be aware of that and then lean on all of us to get through it. Most of us have been through a couple of shifts already. I was telling somebody earlier this week, there are 3 months in my life that I remember the month and the year. Only 3. October 2008 was one of them because 23 local brokerages went out of business in 1 month. How much emotional turmoil do you think there was in the metro area? That was 23 in the metro area. Do you remember that, Bridget? It didn't feel good. Well, that's right. Then the next one was November 2017, when I bought this building with the investor group. And then this July. Those 3 months, they're market time because there's the events of those months are so dramatic. This is part of that. I've never seen a shift in inventory this, from a percentage standpoint. Again, the numbers are still really low, but from a percentage standpoint, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, questions or comments? Bridget?
One small positive that could be coming out of this is we're remodeling our yard, and I've been speaking with a lot of contractors right now, and it seems like they're a lot easier to get than they have been. We waited to do our yard for almost 12 months, and now our contractor is telling us he can go do another project for us in 3 to 4 weeks. So I think the positive is that those of you that have been struggling to find a good contractor, handyman, getting things done on your listings or for your buyers after they buy, I think that will be easier. I don't think it's gonna be cheaper because labor and materials are still really high, but I think it's gonna be easier to get jobs done for your clients. So that's a positive.
That's a huge positive, and I want to add 2 things to that. I know on some of our internal groups, we've started to talk about this. Guess who's paying commissions now? Some builders. They were like, screw you agents 2 months ago, and now they're paying commissions. Alicia just said she's got somebody on her coaching team who's getting a 3% co-op on the construction, which is awesome. You're not gonna get our soapbox. The other thing to be aware of, yes, the same reasons that would lead us to be able to get work done at our houses are gonna impact our income or could potentially impact our income. So what I mean by that is put a lot away. Be smart with your money for the next couple of years. Do not spend it all. God forbid, don't spend it before you make it. Be very, very smart. You want months of reserves. Okay, all right, Judy.
Do you foresee any possibility of short sales or foreclosures because of this change, these changes?
Not in the current environment because the equity gains have been so big. When you gain 50% on your average sales price in 4 years, most people are not anywhere near underwater. So short sales, no. Foreclosures, not if we're doing our jobs, because let's say something happens and I can't make money anymore. My industry lays me off and I can't make my mortgage payment. I still can sell it for money. Like I'm gonna pull money out of it. So I don't think, as long as we're doing our jobs and we're having those conversations with people we know are going to be in distress because they're losing jobs, that's going to happen, kids. It's going to happen. That's why if you have those people with good jobs or own businesses in your database, talk to them now, start to get front of mind now. So we don't have to go down the foreclosure route. Yeah, so I don't see that happening.
But it does impact the possibility of getting listings.
Say more.
This does impact the possibility of getting listings because some people might need to sell their house.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, and the opportunity just changes. That's why you have to be in the market. You have to be in the market every week. Those agents that think they can come in, not now. And if you're a new agent, by the way, I'm excited for you because you've known no other market. So learn it now. You don't have the bad habits that we had, some of us, from the last few years. And what?
It's true, yeah.
But there's a lot of part-time agents, I don't even want to say part-time, because I'm cool if you're part-time, if you're full commitment. So part commitment agents who think they can just jump in and be effective. They can't in a market when it's shifting like this so quickly. And you'll feel that. How many of you have had a conversation with another agent, either in the office or not, questioning, gee, what's going on? Can you believe this? And that's those of us who are in it. So if you've been out of it for 6 months, you know what the hell's going on. Okay, Joe, did I answer your question earlier?
Yeah.
All right, any final thoughts? Yes, Jacqueline?
So I still see opportunity. It's different opportunity, right? I see that the people at the bottom end of the market gonna be challenging. But I do see potential in what's now the middle, which is file at $1 million. Are there certain strategies, both on the buy and the sell side, are there certain areas, if you were gonna niche down and really focus, say you were a new agent, or you're somebody who maybe was used to things coming to you, because that's how it was the last couple of years, and you were gonna focus, are there a few areas that would bring to your attention to focus on?
Bluetooth,
Well, first, yes, if you're looking at any of the steps
connected.
strategically, let's go back to see where is our sweet spot for listed properties. Where are we listing the most? 800 to 2 million. 800,000 to 2 million. That's where we're listing the most. So that's where the most actual sales opportunity is. It's also the people who are raising their hands. So and a lot of our agents have been this way. I've said for years, I would much rather have a brokerage that has a bread and butter business in those lower price points. Except in the initial stages of the shift, when the interest rates are going up and pricing out those buyers. So if I was just moving to San Diego, I'd be looking at any neighborhood that was somewhere between 800 and 2 million.
Make offers,
Make offers?
working with your buyer, like empower your buyers to make offers.
Oh, so Sarah is saying, empower your buyers to make offers. You can actually go in, and I don't like the term lowball, but you certainly can go in with an aggressive offer now, because people are still pricing ahead and above the market, especially if they haven't been in the business actively in the business for a while. And we're seeing price reductions in it. We're seeing some things come in. If 101% or 102% is the average list price to sales price ratio, there's still some over 102 and a lot under that. That's how you get the average, right? So there are properties selling under list price. Make it offer.
And we're also seeing the agents that aren't in tune with the market that are still throwing too much money at properties.
Yep.
Sorry, had to add that.
No, and you were so diplomatic about it, and it is absolutely true. So obviously, if you have a listing, take it. Yeah, and maybe if that's a friend of, if we like them, get them into some classes here. Yeah, close the deal and then invite them in.
There is some silver lining though in this market, right? There's more to choose from for our buyers, right? The sellers are actually negotiating nowadays, which is a beautiful thing, right? And look, at the end of the day, given the supply and demand, we're not going to see 20, 25% appreciation, but at least we'll still see something in the single digits. Properties are still going up.
My projection this year, based on the numbers that I pulled, is we'll have 9 to 11%, depending on single family will probably be 9, condos probably 11. That's healthy appreciation for San Diego. 25, 30% is not healthy. We know it's not sustainable. And although it feels good in our pocketbooks, it screws us long term.
Okay, if you had that $100 at the beginning of the year and you are still holding on to that $100, you now have $91. If you had bought a house, you would have now had $110. So the appreciation is a beautiful thing, you guys. We're losing our money day to day from this inflation. So investing it in something that's an inflation hedge is an excellent financial decision.
Yeah, and people are still gonna buy and sell. People are still gonna have life stuff that happens that creates the demand for the housing. It's still a red hot market, just not. Okay,
Yep.
all right, 2:30 and 58 seconds.
We did it.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Ashley.